What's up, Hits and Crits family? Welcome to another interview at the Invitational, this time with Mickey, with Masarath. So let's jump right in. We have the patch released a few days back. Big one for shaking up the meta. Let's just summarize it like this. So what are your initial feelings about the patch? What is good? What is probably happening in the future with it? What's your take?
I think I'm really interested in the attachment points. I think that's gonna, we've been talking a lot this weekend about the idea of like 5-2 being more common rather than the 4-3s we see. Maybe people stretching 6-1s I think might be viable. We'll see what happens. There's some stuff that I think is really exciting. I think there's some things I would have liked to see changed, but that's fine because that might come later. But there's some stuff that Rattle Shirt's new +1 armor, no vulnerable card. I'm not a massive. I love Rattle Shirt, but he's never been that great. But that card now is just like Donald every attack. Yes, please. I don't care if I lose this game. That's just great.
Straight up good.
So expect me to test some Rattle Shirt and
test Rattle Shirt.
unkillable fens.
So in terms of like, there were so many like changes to not only the list building aspect, but also the attachments. Do you see anything we need in the future in terms of like loosen up restrictions, limitations? Because like a lot of times also when I build lists with Night's Watch now, I also run into this moment where I'm like, I cannot max out the 4 points or I don't see an option. Same with this double Rose Knights list with Loras. There is stuff, but you cannot max it out properly. So what do you think?
So this is a big thing for me because in FreeFolk, we've always had coordination tactics and regroup and reform. Swapping attachments, sharing abilities. Now, other factions don't necessarily have that, but this new attachment-heavy game is kind of like that. We always used to refer to it in FreeFolk, we used to call it Build-A-Bear. You build your own unit, Build-A-Bear, and every faction's doing that now. And that, if you just take away the fact of what the power levels are, what you can actually choose, just building your own thing is exciting. That actually, I'm excited by just saying it. I would love to see a few more attraction lifting. I think the ability to like keep certain attachments that are quite low power level, but maybe keep them in the game. And like they're moving around, like the character's getting killed, that unit's dying, and they're like, oh, sod up, I'll jump into these guys. I think that would be awesome. But
we thought in the video, like our take on the video we released, there was a one take thinking about a generic attachment, which has something like in my main, my main example is Starks, with a generic attachment which brings go down fighting. And this one comes without the real restrictions. So you can whatever use your stuff and say they also have go down fighting because this is a Stark thing, right? And Night's Watch has something different, and whatever. FreeFolk, well, FreeFolk is a special case because of adaptive and the Raiders, but you have to think about it.
Exactly.
This could be something that.
Well, it could even be just something simple like. It costs you. I always thought about this. It costs you a point to remove, remove disorganized from raiders. Like they come with disorganized.
Also,
but if you don't put an
if you don't use
drop
this
adaptive,
1 point,
just drop adaptive. Make them 3 points if you want to. But you have to, if you want to, you have to pay a point to drop that disorganized or balance it around that. So then you could actually do this whole thing where it's like, they're raiders, but I'm putting like that go down fighting in, or I'm putting this in, and again that Build-A-Bear idea. I think that's really cool. I've always been a big fan of why doesn't every unit just have its own leader, and I don't mean commander, but like if you were a detachment in medieval time, you would have had a sergeant.
Exactly.
We already have in most units banners.
Banners.
And even captain sculpts in some of them.
Exactly.
It's not that hard to do, and it would be really cool if they went that direction. The thing is, I would say, is that this patch is the first time in the game's history that we've seen changes to list building because points have changed. We've never seen in the core rule set the number of points you play change.
Exactly.
And that, to me, is a big step in a direction that they've never been before in the global game. So you know, you can be apprehensive. You can think, oh, but my faction got worse. Whatever. You're going to come out of this thinking there's interesting stuff going on.
Interesting stuff, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it motivates you to jump back to old stuff you played. So I basically had my, I had my down with Night's Watch after Season 4, obviously.
Yeah, we all did.
And it was needed, not saying it wasn't needed, just saying Season 5 was, or Season 4 and Season 5 for Night's Watch players was kind of like, I have to play the same stuff. There is basically 2 things I can do, competitively speaking. And it's not interesting. It's not interesting anymore. It's too hard
You've
to,
done it too much.
and it's way too expensive to put in cool stuff. Yeah. Now I can.
Yeah.
Now I can jump back into list building, say what I can do. Watch Captain. And here he comes.
You know, one of the changes we haven't even mentioned as well, but the neutral attachments kind of restrictions as well. Yeah. I think that's, in some ways, there's a power level discussion we could have, but actually, away from the power level discussion, the lore discussion, the discussion around, well, actually it means you're going to see a lot more internal faction things. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So, again, balance out aside for the moment. Yeah. It's a good thing that changes there. And the thing is, you can always address balance with smaller updates, with kind of points changes, extra abilities. So, yeah, I think we'll see a shift. It might not be the most balanced game coming out in Season 6, but
let's see.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be different. It's going to be interesting. And we'll see where it all lands. And then we'll see what happens.
And then go from there.
Go from there, yeah.
So while I have you as one of the best FreeFolk players out there, right?
Well,
Mag.
Yeah, what about Mag?
So they didn't overlook it. They did.
No.
There was no oversight. So you have free attachments, but you have Mag, who fuels monsters, who has its own deck.
Yep.
So, first thing I did when I got the patch early, actually the first thing was I put Mag in and put
points.
Two more giants, 2 more mammoths,
because
mammoths are cool, are just awesome, and 3 NCUs. So that's just my take, not saying this is meta, not saying, but I just wanted to see it. Does that work? So it works. So how do you feel about Mag?
I mean, I think the Mag change, I'm in 2 minds. One of me says I'm really glad they did it, because it allows you to play those monster lists in those 44-point games and not feel left out. Yeah. I'm actually a little bit disappointed with that change, because they clearly understood that they wanted Mag to do that. Yeah. But then they didn't do something like that for Mother of Dragons, which I think would have been quite nice for them to do as well. But they might do that in the future. I'm not going to sit here and say Mother of Dragons being a bit worse for a patch is a bad thing.
Exactly.
So I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
But I think that it's clearly they understood. So maybe that might change in the future. Yeah, we'll see.
Maybe.
But Mag, really some interesting stuff. So you've seen them. You're here today. Yeah. 2 of the things I hate the original sculpts of Mag and 1/1. I think they look silly. So I converted both of them. I play Mag in my list. I carry 1/1 everywhere I go. Yeah. I never find a space to play him. If it means I can put Mag on the table with 1/1 with some other stuff that's nicely painted, converted, I'm happy.
You will do it.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have Tempocrat in our local community, and he also ripped this wooden door that 1/1 ripped off and used as a shield and stuff.
Yeah.
So he also converted.
It's great.
And I'm also looking forward to the new Mag sculpt coming out with tactics, because I like that one way better.
That is a really good sculpt.
But I like the original Mag. He's okay in my mind. He's fine.
I can't get over this.
Yeah, I know.
I can't get over it.
I know, but the new one is
yeah, the new one is really nice. Yeah, really nice.
All right, so to sum things up, we're here at the Invitational, which is probably the crown event of Season 5. One of the crown events of stats.
Yeah.
And we recently have this, all the fuzz about stats, and now us and Rossi, and we're stepping up and saying this needs to stay. And we got it at a point where we feel really confident that we have this platform, we keep this platform, we will improve on the platform if the community goes the same direction as we want to support it. Yeah. And so your take on Invitational, future of such events which are fueled by stats. What's your take on this?
I mean, I've always been a big fan of the Invitational moniker. We go back a few years, Season 1, We had the first Invitational ever hosted by Carlo.
Yeah.
Obviously, I came down with, it was Mance Meta back then, of course. Came away with the win.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just because, you know, FreeFolk or whatever, but what I realised then, before the event, is I really cared. Not about winning LGT that year. It would have been nice, but actually the thing that what mattered to me was the idea of playing in an event where you had invited players.
Yes.
And yes, they might be bringing friends along if we're an event like this, which we'll get to in a second. But the point is that you know you're playing a game against good players that are also, like, on the most part, they're not just good players, they're good people.
Yeah.
Because that's how they get to where they are. That's, you know, they're people that you know, the people you interact with because they are good, but also because they are willing to communicate and reach out. We saw that in the second one when Keijo won, and obviously same kind of thing, that was fantastic as well. And then we're here, which is the first proper event, rather than just a side thing. And this is the first proper Invitational. And we've got over 100 players. We've got a few extra content creators like yourself and Tice. We've got over 50% is from outside the UK.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
and like 14 nations represented. And like awesome.
And it's silly things like names I've seen on Discords I've never seen before. But I know who they are, and being able to meet them. It's, for me, and obviously the first time I've met Chris, which is huge. But also like Ilya and Bartender. I've known Ilya and Bartender for 5 years.
Yeah, for 5 years, but never seen them.
Never
in
met
real
them.
life.
And being able to have them in the same room, even if we don't play, but just being able to like literally
have a beer,
have a hug, have a beer,
exactly,
chat shit.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Great. You know, it doesn't have to be called the Invitational. It doesn't have to have this moniker. It doesn't have to be this.
Yeah.
But this idea is what it has to be. And it's the idea that matters most to more than anything. It's what the vision of Stats always wanted to be, a vision that I've always actually genuinely believed in myself. And, you know, it's credit to Carlo as well. And I know the hundreds of hours work he did. I was there when it started, when it was a spreadsheet. When it came a crappy app. And then it was a website. And yeah, like, I mean, an event like this is just fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So Keijo also shared with us the experience going out of your country to an international tournament where other nations come is so different. I mean, he said when you join, let's say, the French nationals, you go there, you have like, you know, whatever, 80 French people running around. This is great, right? And to connect with their community, meet those kind of players, but be at an international tournament where all, let's say, like the most, let's say, anticipated or like influential names or people, maybe players, content creators, come together and celebrate this game. Celebrate just being together, as you say. This is something that needs to continue.
100%.
And we're also like not to overpromise, but we're also talking behind curtains. We're already talking about we have to continue this format
100%.
And run it. Maybe not each year, but every 2 years, something. Whatever is best for the community.
Move it around different places.
Move it around.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, I think. Yeah, I mean, we all want this in song. You know, we all want to be those communities that can bring people together. And as long as people are doing that, I can't complain.
Exactly.
I think. You know, this could continue. You could have this. You know, it doesn't matter who's running it. But I think one of the big things, and I say this about every organizer and every event like this, is that it's not actually about the event. The event itself is made by the people. You've got to reach out to those people that you want and talk to them and say, look, man, I think you're great. I want you here. And that's what Carlo does. Is what people don't see is, yes, there's all the technical bit, and yes, there's all the bit where he's, you know, he's a grumpy old man. But actually, behind the scenes, and you know, I've known him for years. You know, he puts a lot of time and effort talking to people.
Connect. And connect others also with each other.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that value, you know, you do it in Germany now, which is fantastic to see. And there are others doing it all around the world, but like having that on a really big scale is, that's the most important thing for any event. It doesn't have to be the Invitational. It's any event.
Exactly.
And you know, there's people here that I've met, like yourself, like Larks, Leon. these are people that I would gladly sit and talk about anything with.
Exactly.
You know, it doesn't have to be song.
Yeah.
We could sit and talk about, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
Lego.
Lego.
Yeah, I like Lego. That's the only thing I think of. That's bad, isn't it?
All
anyway,
right.
Yeah, it's great.
All right. So Lego Star Wars next time. Next video with Mickey will be on Star Wars Lego.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. So thanks for sharing. Thanks for being on the
worries.
interview. And yeah, I think there's nothing more to say. Then until we meet again, roll those crits, guys.